career to new heights with constructive curiosity. Whether it's career coaching, mental performance training, or business management consulting, Constructive Curiosity has the insight to get it right. Visit constructivecuriosity.com to get started
We are
today.
very disappointed. A lot of not fun things have happened, even though the Bengals won their last game of the year, which we'll be getting into. They beat the dreaded Pittsburgh Steelers 19-17, and we were all riding a high horse. And if you follow our TikToks, which if you don't, why don't you? It's awesome, and we make fun of Chiefs fans quite a bit in the comments. So jump into those. You're going to have a good time. But we thought the Bengals were going to have it. It was so close. Our slim chances. That's what we were all smiling and hanging on to. And the Jets won. And the team known as the Chiefs, I guess, or really people that hired off the street came out and played. Couldn't even put up a single point. And the Bengals didn't make the postseason. But that being said, before I introduce we have a full roster with us here tonight, but the Bengals have no one to blame but themselves. We'll just go ahead and put that out there now. We're not really that salty with the Chiefs. They owed us nothing. We don't like the Chiefs. But they did miss out on, if they would have won that game, we would have opened the show with Tech 9 because he is a Kansas City native. So they missed out on us opening the show with Tech 9.
Can I do this? Am I allowed to do this?
No, not that Tech 9. Jeez, Peace. Come on.
Oh.
We were going to keep it clean. We weren't going T9X. We were going to do Caribou Lou. It's not that bad.
Okay. All right.
It's a clean song-ish. Anyways, we got Bernsey, Hoop, and Josh with us tonight. So we got a fun episode coming up, even though we're all kind of down in the dumps and not feeling good the way the season ended, and a lot of big changes. So first we're going to get into cheers and jeers, and then we'll get into what's going on without the rest through, what's happened in the couple days afterwards. So, Zach, kick it to you first for your cheers and jeers.
Well, I will go cheer would be Cade York going 4 for 4 with the big one from 48. My jeer, Jermaine Burton. He's been a jeer a lot this season. I don't know what's going on in his personal life or anything like that. I don't care to speculate. That's not what I'm here to do. But we had high hopes on him all year, and we wanted him more involved. And clearly there was a reason why he hasn't been involved, and that is why he didn't travel to Pittsburgh. So I hope it doesn't turn into another Chris Henry situation with him. So we'll just see where things go. I hope he gets his head on straight and the team just rallies around him and we have a better 2026 if he's still here.
Yeah, I hope he's not. I don't think he deserves another shot. But before we move it on to Josh talk about his cheers and jeers, I do want to say, Cade York, we owe you an apology. We ragged you pretty hard on TikTok this week. And you know what? You pulled an MJ and you said, and I took that personally. And you went out there and made 4 kicks. So you're welcome for being your motivation this week. We are here for you, Cade York. Josh, go ahead.
So my cheer is going to be they beat Pittsburgh. It's great. Anytime we beat Pittsburgh, we freaking love it. Doesn't matter how it happens. Makes you feel good. Even though the season didn't end up on Sunday the way we were hoping it did. They still got to end the season on a high note, beating the dreaded Pittsburgh Steelers. My jeer is going to be the entire offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
Burrow was getting his teeth kicked in. The scare at the end of the game where he did not want to get back up from that sack, it was scary. We do not want to see that ever again, and that's the reason why we had one of the 4 coaches fired.
Yeah. 535 pounds landing on you has got to really stink. I don't want 535 pounds to land on me.
Not going face first into the freaking turf.
No.
Which, I mean, let's just be honest. How was that not roughing the passer?
We all said it. On the
You have 2 defensive linemen landing on top of the quarterback. How do you not call that? Anyways, I'll just go in and kick into my cheers and jeers since I'm already talking. My cheer, Jamar Chase tying Carl Pickens' touchdown record.
Word.
Now, of course, he should have beaten it. He should have beaten it, and he knows it. He said it out loud in his post-game interview. but in and of itself, tying that record still, good job, Jamar Chase, and hopefully next year you beat it. My jeer, Burrow didn't continue his streak of 3 touchdown passes with 250 yards plus. That's my jeer. I was hoping he'd be able to take that into at least next season, if not the postseason. So that'd be my jeer. And that's all because of the offensive line, but that's for later.
Yeah, the offensive line, we will destroy you later. Just wait. It'll happen. But anyways, my cheer goes to Mike Gesicki. He's had a good year. He's not quite been as productive as we hoped, but he was still very productive. He had 8 receptions, 68 yards, long of 16, and made some critical catches. I mean, when there was times like we really need this catch, he was the guy to step up and make it. And as far as my jeers go, this should come as not a surprise. For the 3rd week in a row, my jeer goes to Miles Murphy. Posted a 0 across all real stats. 0. First round pick. Nothing but zeros. 2nd week in a row. Embarrassing. I don't know anything else to say but embarrassing. Before I get on a tangent about that, we're going to jump right into the coaches who were let go. First one, goodbye Lou. Goodbye Frankie P. Goodbye James Belcher. And goodbye Marion Hobby. And I'm going to take Lou Anarumo. I'm doing it. Sorry, guys. I'm jumping right on that one first. And you guys can put right other information as you want. But I've seen a lot of people talking on Bengals social media. It was a bad idea to let Lou go. Or it was the best idea ever. He was the worst defensive coordinator. Either way you stand, I did some research, looked into it. So in 2019, they were the 25th ranked defense. In 20, they were the 22nd ranked defense. In 21, they got down to the 12th ranked defense. In 22, they were the 3rd overall best defense. And then in 23, they were 28th. 25, they were 24th, which brings them to an average of 19, which is not really good enough. You got to think about it. That 3 should have an asterisk by it. Because that year, the defense really did carry the team through a lot of struggles. Got them a lot of those wins, and that was a 10-game winning streak or whatever, 8 games. I can't remember exactly when it was off the top of my head. But the defense was critical in that. So if you take that away, they're in the high 20s for an average. So, yeah, Lou, thank you for 2 great seasons, and then the rest of it was crap. Nikki, I know you got stuff to say about Lou.
I am all for firing Lou. I think that Zach Taylor's showing some kahunas. Really showing the fact that he has enough backbone, exactly, to be able to make that change. I mean, that's understanding that you have such a powerful offense with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You're averaging high 20s, low 30s points per game with your high-powered offense, and you only win 9 games. You lose to the Patriots. You lose to a rookie with, Washington, whatever their name is now, Commanders. You lose to the Ravens twice when you should have beaten them pretty handily. And it's all because of defense. It's not. You can't even put it on Evan McPherson at the end or Joe Burrow at the end. The defense let them back, and it was all the defensive scheme from Lou Anarumo. So I'll leave it at that.
No, exactly. And you know what? I did this to Nick on purpose because I know he's ragged on Frankie P for years. So we really don't need to hear Nick talk about Frank Pollock anymore.
Oh, I'm still talking about him.
Please do.
Zach gets the first shot at Frankie P, though, and then Nick can say his piece. Go ahead.
Well, the only thing I really have to say about it was I think we're about 2 seasons too late. That offensive line has not developed very well. We've had the same offensive line for the most part outside of the left tackle position and even the right tackle position the last 2 years. And it's not been great. I know Orlando Brown Jr. talked highly of him, in the postseason presser and everything like that, and how he's developed his game, which great on him. But what about your interior guards? The only one on the interior, is Karras. Karras had a phenomenal season. So outside of those 2, and Mims when healthy, played a pretty good season. So, but your interior guards just weren't there, and I don't know the position enough to talk it more in depth. So that's why I'm going to defer that to Nicholas.
Go ahead, Nick.
It's about damn time. I'm sorry, we're using the one. It is about time. This is years in the making that should have been done years ago. I mean, you have an offensive line that can't block for our MVP quarterback. Kit, out of here. You should have been gone years ago. And that's all your fault, Frank. That's nobody else's fault. You can blame nobody else but yourself. Bad schemes. Just bad. And you had guys who have shown talent elsewhere, but you couldn't do anything with it. Mims, good job this year. I hope next year you have a good offensive line coach to help you out.
Well, it's not even just that. He was also the run game coordinator. The Bengals consistently have had one of the worst run games in the entire NFL. I mean, look what happened when Mixon went away. Had a great season. The past 2 years with the Bengals, he looked washed. We all thought he was done. But he was the run game coordinator. Can't hear you.
Goodbye, Frankie P. Goodness, I don't know what happened to my audio there. But, goodbye, good riddance. Have a good future somewhere other than Cincinnati. We just don't want to see you here ever again. And that is going to bring us on to –
Hold on. I got to say – Mo Egger made a great point on Twitter this week. He said, I'm glad I don't have to hear glass eaters ever again.
He was not a glass eater, that's for sure.
Can we find – I know offensive linemen are a unique breed, but can we find someone who doesn't want people to eat glass? Because that seems like a bad idea. I'm just going to put it out there and say that's a bad idea. It doesn't mean you're tough. It means you're stupid to me if you're eating glass.
It's like Beer Fest.
Yeah. All right,
Casey. What do you think about James Betcher?
Well, the linebacker play wasn't great. So, with these last two, I don't have a problem with getting rid of Betcher. I don't have a problem with getting rid of Hobby. How is the defensive backs coach not let go? That secondary was a bunch of blind guys running around. The last couple of games, Josh Newton played really well. I'll give him that. He made some great plays. CTB had 2 bad penalties and then played a pretty okay game. But how long did it take them to figure it out? I don't understand.
16 games.
Yeah, I don't understand how he still has a job. You fired everybody else associated with the defense. And you're like, but this guy who's gotten burned all year long, we're going to keep this guy. I like this guy.
Well, I kind of feel like at that point he just kind of hides behind Lou Anarumo, said, oh, well, no, Lou's scheme was bad. He expected us to have players with great talent, but these guys are not very talented. So he just kind of defaulted to Lou, it seems like.
Yeah, and that's not good. But, the coaches, good luck in your future endeavors. We know you're people, you have families, you have other things. But you've also worked in the NFL, so you're either going to end up in the college ranks or on another NFL staff. So good luck to you. Lose to the Bengals every time you play them. Otherwise, I hope you have wonderful careers.
I kind of wish Lou would have gone to a head coaching position after the Super Bowl season, because I think we probably would have returned to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, probably could have gotten a better defensive coordinator, not been in this mess that we're in now.
Yeah.
But with that, we're going to talk about why we didn't make the playoffs this year. It's our own fault. Like we said at the beginning, it's totally our own fault, but our TikToks and other social medias have been blowing up this week where we're just ripping on the Chiefs and having a blast doing it. So, Chiefs Kingdom or Chiefs Nation or whatever the heck you call yourselves over there, because we don't really care. You did lay down.
We don't care.
We really don't care. Also, if you want to add us or, speak sense to us or, use improper English, go for it, dude. I have the thesaurus. I have a dictionary. I got you, bro. I can fix your grammar. But anyways, the Chiefs did not really show up well this week. It was abysmal. It was a game that was over as soon as it started. And I get they didn't have anything to play for. I don't think they needed to play their starters. We're not saying that they needed to put out their best performance. But to get blanked, Josh, what do you think about that?
I hate to say it, but I kind of saw it coming. I mean, I said the entire week, Jets are going to win, and Chiefs are going to get their tails kicked in. I didn't.
Looking to take your family on an exciting Disney vacation? Then look no further than Pixie Travel. Whether it's Disney parks, cruises, or experience, our guy Tim Daniels is a travel agent at Pixie Travel, and he can hook you up and make sure your family gets all of the best deals, exclusive offers, and insights that only an expert like Tim would know. Reach out to him today at timd@pixietravelco.com.
Tails. But Nick already used our word for the episode, so we're just going to stick it as PG as we can. I knew it was going to happen. There was no way they were going to allow the Bengals to get into the playoffs because they're probably the biggest wild card. There's not a team that wants to see the Bengals make it in, and it sounds like we're homers saying that, but every single defensive coordinator in the playoffs right now for the AFC is saying, thank God the Bengals didn't make it because I don't know what we would do to defend them. And it's just par for the course with being a Bengals fan. Get your hopes up, and you get let down by something that's out of your control in the final closing moments of your season.
Yeah, it's just sad. Burns and Nick, anything you want to add?
Nicholas?
I mean, I if I'm a Chiefs fan or a part of the Chiefs organization, I can't blame them. You control what you can control, right? I mean, the Chiefs, they won 15 games this year. They controlled what they could control. Obviously, they had a lot of help from the Zebras, but at the same time, they won 15 games. So you don't want to see a specific team in the league or in the playoffs? Why not? Why not sit your starters and second string so that way you don't get anybody hurt going into the playoffs and play all your practice squad? Why not? You're controlling what you can control. You don't want a specific team in the playoffs? Well, don't help them.
Yeah, I was trying to look over the season and just kind of look at everything because it was what it was for us, right? Like week 16, or excuse me, week 1, that 16-10 loss, that's really where it came down to. There was no excuses for that loss. We should have won that game. The league gave us back that touchdown, but we don't get the win, whatever. It is what it is. Kansas City, we had them beat. It wasn't a penalty, but the refs gave them that one. Whatever. Week 3, like Nick was saying earlier, you let a rookie come into your town and just absolutely obliterate your defense. Week 4, Carolina, we beat Andy Dalton. Good job. That's what you're supposed to do. Week 5, you lost to Baltimore in overtime. Again, we missed kick. You left it in the hands of your kicker, and he shanked it. It is what it is. Again, you beat another bad football team with the New York Football Giants. You beat another one with the Browns. You got embarrassed by Philly because your defense couldn't hold a candle to them the entire game. Again, you beat another bad team in Vegas. Baltimore, you hung with them the entire time. You actually played aggressive there, went for 2. Again, you left the game in the hands of the refs on a very blatant face mask call on 3 of the guys, and you didn't call it on any of them. Let's see. You hung in there with the Chargers. Again, your defense gave up 24 points in the first half. Yeah. You don't deserve to be here. What do we have next? Pittsburgh, you made Russ look like 2014 Russ. Throw for almost 500 yards. That's abysmal. And then we go into the streak at that point. Good. That's what you're supposed to do at the end of the year. You're supposed to make it all come together, and you're supposed to be playing. But if you win any of those first games for through week 1 through 12, we're having a completely different conversation as far as the Bengals getting into the playoffs. As for the Chiefs doing what they did, hey, look, someone made a comment on one of our things. There's been so many comments when you deal with 5 million people. It's kind of hard to keep up with who said what, where. They had made the comment, well, if the Bengals would have been there, they probably would have done the same thing. Yeah, no, dumb. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we had a chance to do that a couple of seasons ago if somebody wouldn't have almost died.
Yep.
And we had got turned to a coin flip. What? Anyway, I'm going down to rabbit holes of pain and regression here. So,
But we're not to that point of the offseason yet, Zach. Don't take us.
Spiraling, Zach. You're spiraling.
all right. It's been a day, okay? And I got to let all my frustration and aggression out on the season of what could have been. So, yeah.
I mean, to pick up where Zach left off there, we're going to move into pondering what might have been with this season. We're not going to stay on it for too long. But before we do, one last message to Chiefs fans who are in our comments or whatever other sections. I don't know what they are. I'm too old for that crap. But if you guys can't understand satire or a joke, read a book, grow up. We're not going to get offended. We're all here for fun. We're not actually meaning anything, and we're not going to engage with stupidity. We're just going to counter with humor. So that's
also,
our
the should have won more games. No duh. Yeah. Thanks, Captain Obvious.
So yeah, if you don't like our humor, it's a bunch of guys in their mid to late 30s, and that's about all we got. We're pretty salty. Anyways, moving into pondering what might have been, I want each of you to think about all the stuff Zach just said. Pick one moment that you wish and that you think could have changed the season and talk about it for a minute. Nick.
I mean, I'm just going to talk about it for 5 seconds. The touchdown in the Patriots game.
Whew. Wow.
That should have been a touchdown.
Oh, he's talking again. 5 seconds out. Penalty. Oh, sorry, I'm not Chiefs ref.
Hey, I'll take the next one.
Go ahead, Josh.
It's going to be the bobbled snap on the kick in the first Ravens game. If that wasn't bobbled, I feel like the entire season would have been different.
Yeah, that sounds good. Zach, what do you got?
I'm going to go with what I said to Paul Denner or whoever was on X, and that was the Pittsburgh game, the first one. If you don't let Russ look like 2014 Russ on an offense that was clearly exposed the week before and you can't execute on that one, you don't deserve to win that game. But how do we win that game? Again, Pittsburgh's down another game. We're up another one. And if the other two games go our way, we're in a completely different ballgame. We're in a different tax bracket, if you will.
So I'm going to take a look at the Chiefs game, but go from a different angle. And no, this is not my unique take. Mugger, thank you for the assist on this one. He mentioned it, and then I was like, it might have been Tony Pike. It was Mo and Tony were talking. But he brought it up, and I was like, you know what? You're right. We were all complaining about Dijon Anthony and why is he on the field? The refs made a bad call. Why aren't you rushing Patrick Mahomes on a 4th and 16? Why are you letting him sit there and be comfortable on a 4th and 16? I'm like, holy crap, that makes sense. That if you make him rush and throw that ball faster, he probably doesn't find a receiver anywhere close to make a pass interference even happen. So, yeah, that's the one to me. Like, Lou Anarumo, that was, to me, that should have been the nail in the coffin. You had the rookie out there, and you didn't put any pressure on a guy who thrives on not being pressured and making things happen. So,
Yep.
Understand it.
Yep.
Well, that's going to bring us almost to the end here. So what's coming next? We'll get into that a little bit later on. I don't want to kill the entire offseason, but we're going to have an exciting slate for you coming up in the next episodes. We're going to have offseason awards, final thoughts on the 2024 season, and then hopefully looking forward to, a little bit of time to breathe. That's what we're on. We need some time to decompress and think about this. And Zach's going to be putting together some awesome compilation episodes of looking at what we've done, our highlights from the 2024 Talkin Bengals episodes all the way through, so be on the lookout for that. But closing thoughts, Zach, I'll give it to you first. Plug socials and whatnot.
Well, if you haven't already engaged with us, the 5.6 million of you out there, we are talking_Bengals on all platforms. If there's a new platform that we're not on that you want us on or we should be on, throw it in the comments. Be happy to check it out. I know at least I would. My final thoughts, other than plugging the socials, Man, the season actually, it was nice to play meaningful football in week 18, right? Like, we were 4-8 and we finished 9-8. And the last few weeks, knowing the writing was probably going to be on the wall that we were going to be on the outside looking in, which we were, and we just played meaningful football. And it was nice to end the season that way, even though we're not in the playoffs, so we're not continuing. So that's my final thoughts.
Josh, what do you got?
Well, I got to echo kind of the same thing. I mean, it was nice to not be sitting there knowing that there was nothing to look forward to in that game. It was a fun game to watch because there was hope. We had something that we didn't have in the era prior to Joe Burrow. There's hope when we know Joe Burrow is healthy to end the season. And it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
It didn't end the way we wanted it to, but we at least got to watch every single game knowing that there was still a chance that we were going to be able to make it to the playoffs and make a run.
Yeah, that's a good point. Nick, what do you got?
I just got to say one thing. We ended the season beating the Steelers. Screw them Steelers. Boom. Wave them terrible towels in your little playoff game you're going to get murked in. Get out of here. You're ending next week anyway. Go Bengals. Hooday, baby.
I love it. And, you know, it was a painful season overall. It ended on a good streak, but very disappointing. And 2025 is going to be our year. Woo!
God, we sound like Cowboys fans saying that.
No. We're Woo Girls now, Casey.
Yep.
Woo Girls.
Woo! Woo.
Shout out to How I Met Your Mother. Woo Girls. Woo!
Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode. Hooday.
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 Hooray.